Okay, so now we're back. The sauce is cooking. And you can do one or two things. When you're making your lasagna, you can cook your vegetables, like your onions and peppers or mushrooms, whatever you're going to put in it. You can cook them in a separate pan, which is what we're going to do here, and then put them in the sauce. What I think I'm going to do with them tonight is when I layer my lasagna, I'm going to put them in as a separate layer. So I've cut up some onions, a nice big onion, and I cook with olive oil, 100% virgin olive oil. That's the only thing I use for cooking. So we're going to get this going, and we're going to put in our onions. And we're going to saute them for a few minutes. Doesn't take a lot. Again, you can throw in some oregano if you want. Now, you know, most people put basil. I happen to be allergic to basil, and I'm allergic to garlic. So I'm a little bit limited. I would tell you absolutely put basil in there because it's delicious and I love it, but I can't have it. So we're not going to do it. That's going to saute a little bit. I've also cut up some mushrooms. If you put vegetables in your lasagna, they have to be pre-cooked because your lasagna will get very watery if you don't do that. So, okay, we're going to saute this for a little while, and then we're going to go on to the next step of making your homemade pasta. So here are our vegetables, nice and sauteed. They're looking pretty good. And I've got them off now. We got all mixed. I put in 2 eggs. This is about a pound, I guess. 2 eggs, some parsley, some salt and pepper, just to dress it up a little bit. The eggs are important because it tends to get a little runny. And what you should always do before you use regat is drain it. It doesn't look like there's water in there, but when you put it through like a little sieve and let it sit for a few minutes, you'll see in the bottom residue there's definitely moisture. And if you don't do that, your regat will get very runny when you cook it. I've cut up a bunch of mozzarella. This is just Sorrento. It's nothing really expensive or really fancy, but it's pretty good. I only use whole milk, however. Don't use skim and don't use that whatever, no fat, because it'll taste like rubber. If you want to use handmade mozzarella, you can. It's just very expensive. So that's that. Look at how much that makes. I know that little bit of dough didn't look like much, but when you get a bunch of pieces like this, it's going to be good. Now, you can cut it now to the shape of your I'm just going to do a small thing tonight. So we're going to cut it like this. You can also do it like this, which I think we're going to do. So, and then you know what? It's not a science. Just cut it to whatever you think is going to work right. See, that's about good. And that'll be a little longer, but that's okay. And then you got to start with your first setting. Kind of fun. Fold it. Nice. Put it in your middle setting. It's so simple, really. And then bring it to your next notch. And there it goes. Look at that. Cool, huh? I think so. So now we're going to always keep it nicely floured. We're going to cut it, I guess, in half like this. And you know, they're not going to be perfect rectangles like you get in the supermarket with ranzoni and stuff, but that's okay. Now this can dry until, sit up there and dry until we're ready to cook it. I never dry it. I just keep it there. It's sort of like a holding place until you're ready to boil the water, which we're going to do right now. You should have your water going right now. When we first started making our pasta, we had more flour on the floor than we had on the counter. Still do it. Okay, one more setting. there you go. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up, and we'll be back when we go to boil it and show you how we assemble the lasagna. So here we are. We've got our little lasagna sheets all made, drying, and our water's boiling. So we're going to put it in there. And don't forget to salt your water before you, as you're boiling it. This is fairly thin. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 minutes. It cooks pretty fast, actually. When you're doing like spaghetti or fettuccine, believe it, it's cooked before you know it. It's maybe 2 minutes and it's done. Since this is going to bake later too, we're not going to worry too much about how long we're going to cook it. Now this excess flour that's on here, that just cooks off. You know, it ends up in the water, so don't even worry about it. Whoop, whoop. Okay, and one last one. Now you want that water to come back to a boil. I'm going to time it 2 minutes. It's not quite boiling yet. So what we did was we decided that we were going to cook up some ground chicken. This is nice white meat ground chicken in with the onions and the mushrooms, and that's going to go in with our filling. If you want to do beef, you can do beef, but we don't eat beef, so we're doing chicken. You know, we've got everything ready. We're just waiting for the pasta. Take a big tray, put a towel down on it. This is clean. This is what we use to cover up the pasta with over here. What's very important about this now is that you have no nap on this towel. It's got to be a nice cotton towel, so that, because what we're going to do is when we take the pasta out of here, now see it's boiling. All that foamy, that's the excess flour boiling off. What we're going to do when we take it out of there, we're going to lay it on that tray, and we're going to dry the pasta before we layer our ingredients, so we don't want any excess moisture in the lasagna, because it'll get all soupy. So we have another minute to go. You are never going to get pasta like this from the supermarket. First off, the dried pasta that you get from the supermarket does not have any eggs in it. It's a special semolina flour with water, I think. I don't know, niacin, something else. This has got eggs in it and olive oil, so it's a much richer tasting pasta and really delicious. The first time I tasted fresh pasta like this, I couldn't believe what I had been missing my whole life. And it's so easy to make. It's just kind of a fun experience. I think this looks pretty good. We're going to take it out now. All right, well, we're going to catch up with you when we're done, taking it out and getting it dried off, and we're going to assemble our lasagna.